speech will be how muscle growth really works. In the audience today, we have my sister, Samantha Strada, and my dog recording me. So, to start off, this speech's purpose is to inform the students or my peers on how they can maximize growing their muscle fibers. As I see multiple people have struggles, they have problems, they just go through stages, where they're not maximizing the amount of muscle growth that they can have. So I'm here to educate the audience on what stimulates hypertrophy and muscle growth. So building muscle is honestly, it's a weird task because it forces you to pick up the same weight and put it back down every single day over and over and over again. Now, of course, it can get repetitive, but muscle growth in and of itself is a very easy concept to wrap your head around. It mainly happens through what we call hypertrophy, which is known as a process where the body strengthens and repairs muscle fibers after completion of certain exercises. The amount of muscle you build varies on one's personal training, nutrition, and recovery, which is what we're going to be talking about in this speech. I used to always think that going to the gym and just putting in the work meant that you were able to get stronger just because you were moving heavier weight. But I soon realized that's not true. That's not true. The real muscle growth is based on what you do outside the gym. And I cannot emphasize how important it is to take your recovery, to take your nutrition, to take your training all proper in order to build the most amount of muscle that you can. So, to start off, everyone has gone to the gym at least once in their life. I would hope so. If not, then you've probably had a workout. You've probably done something where you wake up the next day and you're sore. You move around the body part that you were working out the day prior, and it's sore. You feel a stress in the muscle tendon. So, this is the very beginning stages of muscle growth. I've been lifting for around 3-4 years, I would say, consistently, and I've experienced this plenty of times. I've taken it upon myself to research about exercise science and take a look behind the scenes on the actual biology that takes place when building muscle. Today I will take a deep dive into why lifting weights breaks down your muscle fibers, how the body takes initiatives and repairs them, and finally how important recovery is to help them grow stronger. So, now that we know what intentionally triggers muscle growth, let's take a better look on how to keep the ball rolling and your progress continuous. So, Brad Schoenfeld, a very, very well-known, renowned fitness expert on muscle development and fat loss. He mentions how hypertrophy begins with microscopic tears in your muscle generated by resistance training. This can be benching, this can be squatting, this can be whatever you want. All it is just stress on your muscle, and this is what causes your fibers to break down. Now, these tiny tears in your muscles send a signal to your body to initiate the repair progress. So, this is where satellite cells come into play. Satellite cells are very important in the muscle building process. They're special cells that help rebuild muscle, during which the repair process, they are used to fuse your damaged muscle fibers together, forcing them to grow thicker and stronger. This process of breaking down muscle and repairing is how the muscle is formed. This is known as muscle hypertrophy. If stress put on the muscle fiber is not strong enough, then the growth and repair cannot commence. No one wants to build muscle for one day and just stop, right? You don't want to go to the gym, just work out one day and not come back the next, because obviously the results are not going to be shown. So let's take a look at what really keeps this progress going, and that is where nutrition comes into play. I cannot emphasize, like I said previously, how important it is to take care of your nutrition outside of the gym. When you lift weights, obviously you apply the mechanical tension into your muscles, but nutrition plays a major role in the process, especially the macronutrient protein. Protein provides amino acids that in return rebuild the muscle tissue. Eating enough protein, some experts would recommend around 1 gram of protein per body weight, but you could usually get off with just getting 0.7 grams 0.7 grams per body weight. Sorry, 0.7 grams of protein per body weight is what I meant to say. So eating enough protein, super important. Around 1 gram of protein per body weight is ideal. You don't have to do that. But it is what will give your body the resources it needs to repair your broken down fibers and help muscle growth. Nutrition is something that I was not able to master until around my third year of lifting. After I realized that without both the proper training and right nutrition, the muscle building process slows down or stops as a whole. Different exercise science organizations like NASM emphasize having a proper diet and training when it comes to muscle growth. Now, understanding how and why nutrition and proper training is one part of the equation, understanding recovery is a whole nother aspect that you must learn to wrap your head around. When you're done training for the day, your body begins to reduce your inflammation, better known as the pump, and this is when it rebuilds your broken down muscle fibers. It takes a lot of energy and time, which is why rest days become very important. They allow your body to get the recovery it needs, regardless if you are sore or not. Being sore is not always an indicator of having a good workout. Sleep also plays a huge role when it comes to recovery. During sleep is when the body is able to release growth hormones, which support new muscle formation and break down tissue. As we take a look at the greater picture, having the right balance between training, nutrition, and recovery may sound like a lot, but they are needed in order to build a stronger, thicker muscle fiber that will boost your strength as well as your overall performance when it comes to training. Thank you for listening to my speech.